Jill Burton and I'm Head of English Literature at Huish College, and I want to welcome you to my little introduction to what English literature is all about. Now, you may well have heard the famous saying that Samuel Taylor Coleridge came up with, which is English, and particularly poetry, is all about the best words in the best order. And really, he's absolutely right, as you might expect. So what we will show you is how to get the most out of those best words. And we'll take you on a journey from Shakespeare to Harold Pinter. For poetry, we'll look at people like William Blake, Sylvia Plath. And for prose, you'll have the opportunity to look at a really wide range of prose texts. Small extracts, which you can really dig into and get your own ideas about, and really also get to grips with your own favourite genre. So there's nothing not to like about English literature.
Being able to analyse other authors and playwrights and poets is really good for honing in on your own craft, as well as just finding cool, interesting authors that I've never read before.
So just to tell you a little bit about the course structure, which is based around 3 key units. We start with a comparative drama unit. You'll look at a play by Oscar Wilde, who you may have heard of before, but you may not have read this play, which is Lady Windermere's Fan. And then you will compare it with a more modern play by Harold Pinter called Betrayal. That's the first part of the drama unit. And then next year, in the upper 6, you do a Shakespeare play. And at the moment, we're doing The Tempest. After that, you will dig into your poetry, again comparatively, and this time we look at the poetry of Sylvia Plath and Ted Hughes, who also just happened to be married, but one of the things we look at particularly is the cultural and critical background to that, so that could be quite new to you. We also prepare you for the so-called unseen section, which is an entire exam made up of different extracts that you won't have seen before. And for that, you learn a lot about a wide variety of poetry. It can be taken from any part of history. It will also enable you to really get into the detail behind it, which is something that students really enjoy and takes them a long way. The final unit is a so-called non-exam assessment, and that's what we call coursework. And you get to compare 2 prose texts that you have quite a lot of choice in. So you'll be able to develop genre interests that you might well have. And one of the texts will be pre-2000, so people have looked at things like Charlotte Bronte's texts and compared them with modern female writers like Margaret Atwood. And again, students really appreciate the ability to go to more depth and more length, but equally bring their own ideas to that. A typical lesson is much what you'd expect, in that we obviously have to read the texts and we get straight down into investigating all the detail behind them. I would say one of the most important things for us in English literature is to get you in groups discussing things and developing your own voice and your own so-called reading position, so that by the end of the course you can really develop your ideas. And so most lessons involve quite a lot of that. But also we're going to get you to sit and do some detailed writing occasionally, so that you get a really good practice in what you're doing for the exam. But mostly we want you to have fun exploring text, and people generally do.
We learn about the author's context and their life as well, so then it kind of doesn't seem like this far off subject. It kind of seems like, okay, we know the author, we know the poet, we know the playwright, and you kind of understand them a lot more. And we also watch documentaries and things about the author and the writer, so yeah, it really brings it to life.
So typically, if we can, we'll take you on theatre trips. Often we've been to Stratford, and in the past we've also managed to go to Shakespeare's birthplace, which obviously helps you with your study of Shakespeare. But equally, we've done other trips to Coleridge Cottage and support trips, if we possibly can, to any of the texts. We also sometimes have what I call an occasional lecture series, where members of the department will take you above and beyond what you need to do at A-level, and also other people are welcome to that lecture. And occasionally we've also done a book group, so there are plenty of things that we can offer you as enrichment. Just to say something about any key differences between GCSE and A-level, as you might expect, it just takes you a lot further into the detail that you might need to use, but also you'll be able to bring your own opinions to text a lot more. So rather than having to stick quite rigidly to the text because there's a lot to get through, for A-level you can do a much broader and deeper study.
With English Lit, you learn how to essay write properly in a much bigger sense than in GCSE, because you have to include critic quotes, you have to use different points, and in the essay writing you definitely learn how to express your opinions and views in a more clear way.
So the wonderful thing about English literature is that it can take you anywhere you like, because the skills that you will learn are transferable to anything. So it's not just if you want to be a journalist or write or teach. Everybody needs to communicate. Everybody needs to read, and being able to deal with complex text quickly, but also perceptively and imaginatively, takes you to any level you want. So really it is the subject that goes with anything and helps you to get anywhere. Now, some of the frequently asked questions we get are about whether there is much difference between literature and language. And of course, the most important thing for us about English literature is that it's all to do with full literary texts. Apart from that, it's exactly what you might expect, only it just takes you into a more full and comprehensive understanding of text. And if you're thinking, I don't really know much about the cultural or critical or historical background to these texts, should that get in my way? Well, it really won't, because we support you with that. We give you lots of materials, and if you're worried about anything, we are always there to give you extra help, whether it's with how you write, or giving you new ideas, or even just general encouragement and support towards what you have to do.
I also want to publish books, so reading other people's works in English Lit definitely helps me kind of hone in on that creative subject that I want to also pursue in the future.
So thanks for listening to me, and I hope I've given you some sense of the inspiration that I have always found English literature to be. I must admit, one of the key joys for me is discovering students who tell me that literature has kept them going, people who like to really love those texts in the end, and that is the joy for all of us here. We want to bring our love of the subject to you. And so I hope to meet you very soon at Richard Huish College, and hope that your choices are easy ones, but particularly that you choose English literature.